Welcome to C-Fan Sports, the sports show that is dedicated to the Seattle sports fan. I'm Dave. This is Kevin. Please, if you're new here, subscribe down below. If you're returning and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe, turn on your notifications, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down, leave us comments. Tell us what you're thinking. We want to hear. Man, we are right now in the thick of a race. And Kevin, what do the Seattle Mariners and a good Marvel movie have in common?
I have no idea, but you're going to tell us, right?
I am going to tell us, because you know what, Kevin? You are not a big Marvel movie fan. I do like to watch Marvel movies. And Kevin, what happens is that the movie plays, okay, in a Marvel movie, and then at the very end of the movie, they show credits. Okay, you know what credits are, where they credit the people that made it. And then they have what's called an end credit scene, which sets up the next movie.
Oh.
You have to watch, not only do you have to sit through the whole movie, you got to sit through all the credits so that you can get all the good stuff, what might be coming up in further movies. Well, the Seattle Mariners, Kevin, you can't leave in the 8th inning.
No.
You can't leave in the 9th inning. If Pete Carroll walked into the post-game show, he would look around the room and said, "We can't win in the 9th inning.
Ooh.
We can't win in the 10th inning, but in the 11th winning inning, we can win this ball game." Kevin, just like this season, when you count out this team, when you're scooping the shovel of dirt onto this team and saying they're done, they're young, we got as much as we could out of them this year. They come back and they do it over and over again.
Yep.
When they lost those 3 out of 4 to Kansas City, I was like, okay, well, we gave it a run. We gave it a shot. And then they come back and they hit 2 of 3 from Houston.
Yeah.
Then they sweep the Diamondbacks, which I thought was a series that we were going to be in trouble because we seem to do well against the good teams and get Kevin, I've rambled on for long enough. I've given scenarios here and there of how I feel. Kevin, tell me your thoughts, because I've been dying to know your thoughts over this stretch of games.
Well, I was so excited about the 2 out of 3 against Houston, and because not only the first one we had opportunities to win. Our defense kind of let us down a little bit. I thought Flexen did a good job. He pitched 5 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Really, the downfall was there was a couple of misplays in the defense, and unfortunately, Joe Smith, he came in for like a third of an inning and gave up 2 runs, and that's really why we lost that game. We should have
game, Kevin?
What?
What game? Which game was that?
Oh, that was the first game of the series against the Houston Astros that we lost. So
that we lost. Okay, I apologize. We could, because we could have swept.
We could have swept
both series.
Absolutely. And I really have to. I was so excited because there was so much fun stuff, and I was really watching the pitching. I mean, on August 31st, the second game, YK came in, who we've been questioning whether we even want him on our team next year. He threw 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Gilbert came in, who we've been talking about, 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 Ks. I mean, just absolutely dominating pitching against the Houston Astros. Now, the biggest thing about the Houston Astros series that was so much fun for me was grand salami time from Abraham Toro.
Who did he hit that off of, Kevin?
Off of our buddy, Kendall Graveman. So I was so excited for Toro because, everybody was doubting and everybody really was pissed at that trade, but boy, did he show up. And actually, hats off to Abraham Toro in that series. He had 5 RBIs the last 2 games to win those last 2 games. And boy, he was definitely the player of that series, in my opinion.
And Kevin, we both were upset that they traded Kendall. When that trade went down, the very first thing I did is I called you and I'm like, what? And you're like, I don't know, I'm pissed. And I said, I am too. And then, but when I said, we finally took a step back and said, okay, this is probably why that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And
then, the more we did research on Toro, the more we were excited. I mean, in all reality, I mean, that to me, when I started doing research on Toro, and I'm like, oh boy, I understand why we made this trade now. So yeah, I agree.
So Kevin, again, all season long, and it's not just been the Mariners as a team. I mean, we have thrown dirt on several players. We've thrown dirt on Seager. We've thrown dirt on Kelnick. We've thrown dirt and Logan Gilbert and Yusei Kikuchi. And yet they all come back and ball out and have done nothing except make this team stronger. I mean, it's just like the more pressure you put on them, the brighter the diamond becomes. It's just exciting.
Yeah. Well, so on the Arizona Diamondback series, like you said, anytime we should sweep somebody, two of the 3 games went into extra innings. So, I mean, it was just like, wow, what is going on? Tyler Anderson, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Marco Gonzalez, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 1 walk, 2 Ks. And Flexen today, another 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 4 Ks.
Yeah, that 6th inning kind of got away from him.
Yeah, the hilarious part about this whole thing is in both series that we just pitched, no pitcher had won their decision or won the game or lost the game. They were all no decisions except for Marco Gonzalez, who allowed the most runs and the most hits out of everybody that pitched. Well, there was a reason for that, and his name was Kyle Seager. 2 3-run bombs, 6 RBIs. So, that was such a great game. And I'm going to talk about the Tyler Anderson game on the 3rd, September 3rd. Jared Kelnick was 2 for 5, 3 RBIs with a home run. We only scored 6 runs that game, so he got half the runs. Excellent job from both of those guys as well. So.
Well, Kevin, it really speaks to how this team is managed and how it was built. Exactly. And this week, I was starting to get on pins and needles thinking, are we going to wrap up Scott Servais and Jerry Dipoto, or are we going to let them test the free agent market as far as going and being a GM and a head coach or a manager somewhere else? And thank goodness cooler heads prevailed, and we got a deal done for not just one of them, but we got them both for the next 4 years. Kevin, your thoughts on the extension of both Dipoto and Servais?
Well, we both knew that they had to do this. I mean, they didn't have a choice. Really, Jerry has been the architect of the entire project, and Scott has always been Jerry's manager. Scott, if Jerry signed a new contract, you knew Scott was going to be behind it because Jerry wants to do it with Scott, and that's the loyalty those two have. Both of them have done a phenomenal job, in my opinion. I want to see them go through the rest of it and see what they can do because they built it. They should be able to experience the wins that are coming.
I completely agree. And I think that they can all look across the street and see what John and Pete have done and be able to put together this amazing team that we're getting to enjoy on a weekly basis. So, Kevin, what we have coming up now is we got a 3-game set with the Houston Astros.
Yes, we do.
And then we go back to Seattle and we have another 3-game set with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then we're going to follow that up with a more Houston Astros. Or no, excuse me, Boston Red Sox. My bad. Before anybody throws a brick at me, it's the Boston Red Sox. Boston. So
go ahead. Sorry.
So Kevin, we got a couple of big series coming. I really think right now, if we do the unthinkable, the unimaginable, the I can't even think, the uncola of deals and sweep, dare I say sweep the Houston Astros in Seattle, we will pull within a game and a half of first place in the Western Division.
Correct.
A month ago, that wasn't even a thought.
Not even a thought. No.
Not even a prayer.
Mm-mm.
Here we are. We are knocking on the doorstep of win not just a wild card spot, but
Right.
an actual berth as the Western Division champions.
Yep.
I'm speechless because I didn't think it was possible.
Well, I mean, right now we're currently in second place in our division, 75 and 62. We're 13 games above 500. Who would have thought that? I never did.
Nope.
I mean, I always thought we would make the playoffs, but not to where we're at.
I didn't.
We're 3 games behind Boston for the number 2 spot, which we got 3 games coming up. We are 3.5 behind the Yankees. I am so excited right now because we really have a legitimate shot of not only making the playoffs, but like you said, we really have a shot at taking the division. And that's unbelievable. Although I think Houston has a bunch of games against Texas coming up, so it might it'll be
Who
tough.
knows? All right, they're going to be feasting on some lower competition as well. So that, Kevin, with that being said, so let's take a trip real quick through the minors for us. So let's start with Tacoma Rainiers. Kevin, tell me how things are in Tacoma.
Well, right now they're in second place, 1 game out of first at 61 and 44. They had 3 wins, 2 losses last week. Infielder Donovan Walton is currently batting .313. Really the only standout bat now that Marmoleos is up with the big club. And on August 31st, pitcher Darren McCoggan, who actually had a stint in Seattle, he went 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 Ks. And that's pretty much the bright spot of the week in Tacoma.
Okay. Kevin, let's head down to Traveler Land, where I know there is a lot of bright spots down there. Because I tell you what, I heard some good stuff this week about Travelers. You tell me.
Yep.
Tell me all about it, Kevin.
Well, they had 4 wins and 2 losses. They're second in their division, 3 games out at 59-49. Let's talk about some pitching. On September 2nd, Matt Brash and 2 other guys pitched a complete game shutout. But Matt pitched 6 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 11 Ks. Well, not to be outdone, on September 3rd, Brandon Williamson pitched 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, and 8 Ks. And, well, wait a minute. On September 4th, George Kirby, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, and 7 Ks. 3 games in a row, all 3 pitchers pitched 6 innings and no runs.
Kevin, I'm telling you, the future for our staff is looking so bright.
Yeah.
And you didn't even say anything about Emerson Hancock.
No, I did not. But the biggest take away from this past week in Arkansas is one kid by the name of Julio Rodriguez.
Is he down by the schoolyard?
Very much so. And he is currently batting .374.
Wow.
This week, he went 13 for 23 with a .565 batting average, 5 runs, 5 RBIs, 4 walks, and 3 extra base hits. Man, is he just tearing it up.
And if you think about this, Kevin, he has had so much turmoil. He's gone to the World Championship or to the Olympics. He has been here. He's been there. He's been to the All-Star minor league All-Star game. He's been back, and he's still producing. That tells me this kid is got it. Yeah. And I'm unfortunately, like I've been with Jared, and I've seen Jared take a lot of lumps. We're going to see that out of Julio, but man, I tell you what, I think it's going to be we have something that we have got built for a long time. This is not a flash in the pan, Mariner fans. This is not something that you're going to see overnight. It's something we're going to be bringing the heat. All right, Kevin, let's head up to Everett. Tell me what's going on with them 3-toed Aqua Sox.
Well, now the Aqua Sox are now in second place.
Oh,
they're a half game out behind Spokane Indians. arch rival this year.
Right.
There's currently at 60-47. Really, the only bright spot has been Victor Labrada, who is currently batting 259. But when he got called up from the Nuts, he really went in the tank and was batting under 200. He's brought it up to 259. Well, this week he went 7 for 25 with a 357 batting average, 6 runs, 6 RBIs, 1 walk, 5 extra base hits, 3 of those home runs, including a walk-off dinger the other night.
A dinger.
A dinger.
All right, Kevin. So let's head south to the Nuts. Tell me what's going on with the Modesto Nuts.
Well, they're 2 wins, 3 losses. Currently in third place, 12 games out, 58-49. They're still struggling, but Corey Reiser, the outfielder, who was the 12th round of 2021 draft pick, still batting 389. He's not 500 this week, but he's 389. Corey Davis, the outfielder, the 7th round draft pick of this year's draft, is batting 360, and catcher Eric Jones is batting 370. So those 3 guys are still hot. They're not hitting it out of the park. They're not getting a lot of RBIs and a lot of runs scored, but they are still hitting the ball everywhere.
Kevin, I guess now we're going to put on our hats and we're going to just see what this next series brings us as a closing time that we have here. I'm excited to see what we do in Houston. I think that a lot of things for the rest of the season sets up in this next 3-game stretch. Kevin, any final thoughts from you on the Houston series?
I think this Houston series is huge. And the reason why is because obviously we are in striking distance of taking over the division. However, we have to win at least the series, if not 3 games, in order to move up. Because I really believe that these guys are going to be playing, teams that aren't as good as they are in the final, a lot of games with teams that are less than they are. And so we'll see. I mean, I'm just hoping that somebody comes in and knocks them down a couple pegs, and which helps us out. But you can't really count on it. So I really think that this next series, the 3 games against Houston, is going to be absolutely huge. And then the 3 games against Boston, who are just 3 games ahead of us in the second round, our second wild card spot.
Yep.
So we need those 2 series are the ones that we have to focus on.
TCB, baby. TC, we got to be taking care of business.
Taking care of business.
All right, Kevin.
Our business, not theirs.
Like a baseball leaving Kyle Seager's bat, we're out of here. Go Mariners.
Peace out.